I have been on countless investigations and experienced paranormal activity multiple times.
Whoa, was that a light bulb?
You? Chris, he's coming up right now.
Yeah, I know. I don't feel safe.
I decided to officially launch Paranormal Endeavors as a group that studies the spiritual and scientific, including other unique aspects in the research as well. Decided to launch it on March of 2010. At that time, there's only a couple people that knew about the group being launched. And as any new group as well, we've had our ups.
Yep, for our elementary.
And our downs. This would be a classification of tampering with evidence. This is just something we just don't do. Alex has been one of the earliest paranormal researchers, and he unfortunately was kind of going through the training aspect of it, and then he had to drop out or step down, so to speak, due to busyness of the real life, so to speak, and also their situation going on between him and Chris at that time. But now, I'm wanting to check in with him to see how things are, see if things have tamed down enough to where maybe he can contribute a little bit more and renew another contract with us to where he can investigate again. And also along with that, Jeremiah, who at the time seemed to have flaked out, literally, because I didn't hear from him for weeks at a time. And he too had a situation in real life that was going on that affected his ability to be an efficient investigator. Oh, hello!
What's up? Long time no see.
Exactly. That's really cool. Oh, what? Oh, yeah, the pictures? Here. This is pretty sweet.
Sweet. Nice. So what is this, your aunt or something?
Ha ha ha.
Oh my god.
Alright, well, thanks for coming over. It's been a while. Hey now. Especially with you. You just kind of disappeared, man. What happened there in April of last year?
Well, I got a new job and I became really busy and I should probably apologize, but it was just one of those deals, I guess. It was a rough several months.
Yeah, no, it just would have been a courtesy thing is really the main thing, to let us know that, hey, you won't be able to do it, anymore. Or that, hey, I need to take a longer absence or something. Because for a while there, it seemed like you were going to come back and I'd give you a notice. be like, hey, where are you?
And I guess for me, I've got to find the time to do what I need to do. I mean, obviously, there's 24 hours in a day and 7 days a week. It's hard for me to commit, say yes, and not be able to do it when the time comes. But if the right opportunity comes up, like something's going on, it's like, well, yeah, I'm off work that weekend, or this will work for me. I'd like to tag along, and if something changes in the future, then great. But if not, then, but I'm open to it. Is my answer, I suppose.
Well, is the situation better now to where you might be able to have a stronger communication?
Yes, I mean, life is going good, but
it would be nice to know that, okay, send it out, and you just be able to do that. No, I won't be able to make it on this one, Eric, kind of thing. That's what I would be looking for. Because that was the reason I had to let you go on last spring.
That'd probably work.
Okay. So is that something that maybe, for the communications, we can do some kind of a pinky swear?
Pinky swear, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay. With Jeremiah, it was an issue of communication, the lack of. I give him a heads up, just like everybody else in the group announcements, a few weeks ahead of the planned investigation, and I wouldn't hear back from him. And so I'm really hoping that there will be some improvement in communications with him, and we'll find out.
Don't ever compare me to Chris. We love you, Chris.
Yeah, that's the thing too. He's no longer in the group. I told you about that, right? Mm-hmm. How he into Indiana.
I saw you guys are Facebook friends again.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
Why did he leave?
Well, I fired him.
What did he do?
In Indiana, he had
I don't
disconnected.
Think I told you this.
He disconnected two of the DVR cameras. When we left them running. It was the second time that we went back.
It's not like the same thing with him. With how he doesn't really have the time. Mm-hmm. It's just I'm still kind of on the fence of whether I want to devote to be a full time. I don't know if I want to devote all my time to it, because I'm still, I don't know. After seeing what happened to him in our last one that we did, it still just kind of scares me, and I just don't know if I want to, how deep I really want to delve into this.
Oh.
That's what's, it's not really the time thing anymore that's keeping me back, it's more of that aspect.
For me, that's
but I know that you are pretty well versed in this stuff and you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
but it's still, for me, it's the fact of, okay, I know this stuff exists, and I'm really intrigued by it, but at the same time, it's do I want to put myself in danger's way just to get evidence?
Yeah, thinking about that, it's really interesting, but when something like that happens, you look at it differently, and for me, that's as far into it as I think I want to go. I don't want to experience something that terrifying. As it's extremely rare, you never run into something like what Jeremiah was talking about.
Yeah.
I think it was more on the lines of, because he wasn't even put you down or anything, Jerry, but you weren't possessed, and so it wasn't a situation like that. It was just the first time experiencing. He didn't know how to handle it. He didn't know. It was just all new. Yeah. Well, I'd put it this way: it's good to go into this field not being naive about it, and knowing that of potential threats, and knowing that not everybody is just grandma knocking on the fridge. Mm-hmm. There's definitely there's things to keep in mind, and
well, I think it's better to go into things being weary of it and knowing that potentially there are dangerous things rather than just going in there blindly.
Mm-hmm. And Alex is back now, but part of me is kind of wondering, and I've been wondering this for a little while now, where his interests are. It seems like there might be slight different points of interest in this field for him than it is for me or for some of the others in the group. It seems like he might not be a real serious investigator about it, but we'll find out here. Hopefully I'm wrong about it. Okay, you think you'll be able to be more serious and do what needs to be done and not get on sidetracked?
Do you think you've grown up in the past
Have you grown up?
I think I've become more immature. But I think I've...
That's a selling point.
No, being serious, have you grown up?
Yep.
Enough to know when to joke and when not to, I suppose. We'll still have our moments, but it's not going to be...
Exactly. There's times to do it, but when we're all quiet, and EVP session, and you're supposed to be doing EVP sessions, and you're supposed to be taking pictures, and you don't take any pictures, and you forget to ask questions, that tends to piss people off. Well, thanks again for both of you stopping by, and yeah.
Professional.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Gotta honor that, Jerry. We're preparing for a New Virginia case, and just before the investigation, and Jackie had stopped by, and it had been a while since I'd seen her. Last investigation she went on was in Indiana.
I'm enjoying myself so far.
Yeah. I hope to see you more out on these cases.
Yeah,
You said you're freeing up a little bit
Yeah.
more, so that'd be nice. But yeah, so this is kind of our new setup for now. I kind of got this table and.
I think the setup right now is really awesome. Like, it definitely looks more at a more professional level. I love the table. I love the wall of fame. I love pretty much everything about it. Like, it definitely gives our group off as more professional and more respect for our group.
Kim had set up this investigation for us, but at the last minute, Kim and Jason both couldn't make it to this one. So on this one will be the trio of Sarah, myself, and Miles, and it should be a good night. So you're actually involved with the Masons, and more so than probably most of us in the group. And tell your history about that.
I have been, yeah. I pledged when I was 21, almost 22. It's a fraternal organization, really. It does a lot of charity work, a lot of just quiet sponsorship for, like, usually for local not-for-profits and stuff like that. You know, the specific lodge that I pledged out of in Springfield, Missouri, did a lot with our Humane Society, the American Cancer Society. We have a big breast cancer center there at the Cox Health System.
All right, well, on the New Virginia case, I was really excited personally, being a Mason and having Eric tell us this was actually an abandoned, a shut-down Masonic lodge. I was looking forward to that, and I have a lot of ties to that with my family. And getting there, we briefly just kind of capped what Masonry was and all that.
Like I said, it's a fraternal organization. Our specific lodge does allow women to join. We have a few female members. A lot of them, I would say that a majority of them still don't. That's something that's just started happening kind of the last 50, 75 years that women have really become more of a part of that. As far as, there's you have someone sponsor you, kind of someone who basically says, I vouch for this person and his character. They help you with your first couple of steps into the process, your first and second degree work, which is a lot of studying, a lot of learning the history of Masonry, learning some basic routines. There's certain phrases, communications. There's different lodges do slightly different things, but the structure to it is all the same. The degrees are all still the same.
Well, that sounds very interesting. Can't wait to get there then, especially, I know you're pumped for this one in particular.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully we'll get some kind of activity here. That's what the client, Jackson's wanting too. He's wishing us the best and that we can experience some of the things that he's had.
What were some of their initial, what are some of the things that have been reported, or what are some of the things that have been?
More or less, shadows seen, a lot of visual things too, sounds, noises, stuff that happens a lot at night.
When we first found out that we were going down to New Virginia, we were really excited about it. It was going to be something definitely different, especially on the aspect of Miles having the background of being a Mason and such.
And Kim's been there before, and unfortunately Kim and Jason won't be able to join us tonight. Some family issues that they had to attend to, so it'll be just us this time, and Sarah in the back has actually been bumped up to a case manager position, so wish her the best with that. And it'll be our first full-time case manager since Chris. Because as you know, like I told you, Johnny was an interim, just kind of substitute for a while. He got some issues and he had to be let go.
As we arrived there and walking through it, it was neat to get a feel for the building, see the official entry door for like the Masonic meetings and all that. A lot of the history to the building was still there. A lot of the original parts of the building were still there. It was really, really a neat layout and all that to see.
We didn't really have any feelings or anything that just kind of jumped out at us, you know, in the beginning of it. Not even really when we were in the building. It was an old building, kind of felt a little creepy inside of it, but then again, it's 11 o'clock, midnight, you know, when we were there.
All right, so this is our first break. We actually locked up, so if anything happens in there, it'll be kind of interesting because none of us are in there and nobody's in there right now. But before, when you were setting up, you said that there's sharp pains or something that you felt.
Yeah, my abdomen,
Okay.
stomach area down here, and as we were walking down the stairs, it started feeling better. It's mostly in the room with all the setup in it. When I walked around a little bit, it was still there, noticeably. But when we were walking down the stairs, it started, and now, honestly, I don't feel anything.
So it could be something here then, because you know yourself more than anybody else, so that's not something that you normally
It's normal, yeah.
get. Okay. Okay, well, interesting. So I guess we'll walk around out here for a little bit and then go back in and start our first session. Alright, so now we're entering the room, we're entering the building after our first break. We're checking out, putting the DVR audio recorder down here. And actually, what is that? Miles, is that the
Look at this.
motion sensor?
This was up here,
Wow.
double wedged in.
How did you, show me where you have that. 'Cause
This was up here. And I'll be on tape doing this. You'll see me actually force it in there.
Yeah, I saw you put it in there.
It's snug. It's wedged
yeah.
into that. Feel that?
Yeah, it would have
That
be
would not have-
wiggled out and then like that.
That was not.
So that might be on the DVR camera because we have a camera aiming at it.
We had a camera behind.
But it wasn't going off, but it was flashing until you disarmed it right now. But if you want to put it back exactly how you had it, arm it again, and we'll get the heck out of here.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I literally step down and say, what is that on the floor? And it happened to be the motion sensor that Miles had wedged into the wall. That shit freaked me out because I watched him put that sensor down in the basement on camera. I watched him do it. And to go walk down there and see it on the floor. It would have had to take some strength to get that out of there.
One of the things significantly that did happen down there was at one point we have a small, just kind of handheld unit that I had wedged up in a wall that's a motion sensor that lets off a real loud alarm sound when it's triggered. For some reason, on video while we were watching this, it actually tips itself and moves completely forward. It didn't slide off, and I had wedged that in there and actually secured it very well. It was not triggered. Even the motion of it falling didn't trip it off, but it definitely was acted upon and moved completely uncharacteristically. I mean, it was something very, very visible and very tangible that happened there.
Fortunately, we had a camera in there and watched it back, and it's pretty interesting. I want to see this real quick before we undo the DVR system. I want to see.
We got it narrowed down to where
find where the damn thing fell off at, or it's falling off.
that was my fault.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Let me Okay, let's go fast forward here and see if we can see where it happened. Got to be close here. This is where we're doing setup still.
There it is.
Oh,
There it is.
There it is.
Let me go back here.
Oh.
Bam.
That goes end over end tumbling.
Yeah.
That doesn't, and you can see it as it moves forward, just how far back it had actually been leaned. Wow, do you see that just move from the top?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so we're going to reinforce spaceman items, motion light, and one of these motion cameras.
I think things flowed really well given that we were a little short-staffed on that, only having 3 people with the crew there. I think we all picked up slack really well. All of us kind of seemed to dive into certain parts of setup and made it really flow. We got cameras and cables set up and run very efficiently. In every lodge, you're going to have several significant rooms. One of them being, as you walk through here, pledges and lower ranking members have a different entrance than a lot of your higher ranking, the elder members, the upper degrees, the 30 degree and plus, would all have a separate room where they would come in. Everyone has a robe room, and that's what this would be my assumption here. As you walk in, it's a small room that has direct access to the actual great room, but when you come into one of these, you'll see this. I think we have a light in here. You'll see this. You'll see multiple hooks. They had robes that didn't leave. A lot of times, those were actually, I don't want to say generational, but antique. Those were passed down, and they actually belonged to the lodge. In a large room like this, you would have either rows of seats out here, or pews like in a church. Usually 2 or 3 sets in a room this size. There's a platform or a podium over here where your 3 highest ranking members, the master of the lodge, and then 2 essentially like an officer, it would just depend on their rank, what their title would sit at the head of a meeting. But what it has here is you actually had someone who acted basically not as a bouncer, didn't check IDs or anything like that, but what you would do is, depending on your rank, you have a certain phrase that you're on the outside of this. You would actually open this, identify yourself, and based on your what rank and what degree you are, you would utter a phrase, and there was a scripted response to that, and you were allowed to enter.
What'd you say you saw?
Look at this. That can koozie right there was up here on this shelf. When I did that preliminary walkthrough here and turned the lights on and went through, I came into this room, pulled this light cord. No, I'm sorry, these were right next to each other.
Yeah.
Right here. Right here.
Okay, so we're having things
look,
move.
This doesn't, it's oblong. It's oblong.
Yeah.
And it was just
There's no breeze
right
or
there.
wind or anything coming through here either.
Absolutely not. It was back here. That would have taken 2 full rolls to get there. And that was absolutely up here. In completing setup and all that, I got a really, really good run through with Eric on using the DVR system, kind of more hands-on. Learned a lot of the functionalities with that, becoming a lot more comfortable with it. He kind of gave me free range on where some of the cameras went, how some stuff was set up, but let me go hands-on with a lot of that. I put a lot of it together real well.
You are like you did this. She opening up finally?
Is there someone named John? Johnny.
Something you done complicated. You got for Gotcha.
59. We just went from 75 degrees to 59.9.
No, I think it was on me when it was 75, but...
Yeah, it's still right. It's right here too. Still, slightly. There's a bit of a cool chill.
Drift. 59.8.
Aiming at me, probably.
I'm aiming right out towards my light. It went back up to almost 62 degrees right there. So
If you come look at this side, sweetheart.
Okay, we're starting to get some activity here, so I'd like to start our thing here soon.
Okay.
Stuff's starting to happen here, and before the patrons or whatnot in the bar next door get too wasted, to get some more history and just kind of do the random interviews as we had discussed, it sounds like a good idea. And right now I think I'll send you to do that. It would be one of your first assignments, I guess you could say, as a case manager, and kind of go down there and just see what you can get, any history, try to focus more on the user judgment, don't go to Mr.
Really? That was my first one.
Yeah.
That young lady did say that the owner of that bar is there.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing orange, so see if he's got any information and kind of see if he could.
Setup went pretty smoothly, and we even had time to try to get some history and see what some locals had to say, if they've heard anything about the building or any kind of activity or anything like that. So I had sent Sarah out to work on getting some of these stories.
All right, babe, you're gonna go and
Work your magic.
work your local magic, try to charm some information out of a local, and all right, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, I'll need to disarm the motion sensor.
Okay.
Just give me just a sec on that. So
Yeah, it's deafening.
it is brutal. We're having that over the shoulder, very.
Yeah, and it's back a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. There's an abrupt presence here, like a just what do you think you're doing here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a threatening thing
No.
per se,
But the figure that I'm getting, and we can work on this more on the spiritual side a little bit later, tends to be very proper individual. If you disrespect him, he'll let you know, kind of thing.
That's kind of what I was saying, because it didn't feel confrontational. It definitely felt.
But it easily would be upset if we decided to start provoking. I don't think that'd be very smart down here.
I don't really think that's ever been our MO. But,
No,
that's
no.
definitely agreeable with me as far as that same sensation.
Be respectful with him, and he might be respectful back, kind of thing.
Exactly.
There's a door in the basement that kept drawing Miles' attention. He just kept looking at it. There's something about it.
One of the things there I found myself doing was several times I went down to the basement by myself, and if ever there was a creepy old basement, that was a creepy old basement. Handmade doors on things, old concrete and masonry work as far as just the foundation of the building. I really had some kind of urge to check this out, and I don't know why. I really wish.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, this thing fell on me.
Fell on you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's hanging and I just snagged it, but it should be on camera because I had it.
Okay.
I don't know what it would have been on. It's a running noise.
What?
It stopped. It wasn't a toilet flush.
No, not at all. We're the only
But it sounded
people in
like
this building.
the water, like the faucet.
Like somebody just turned it on.
Turn it on and turn it off.
Very interesting stuff right there.
Yeah,
There's nobody here. There's absolutely nobody here.
maybe that was our way of saying yes.
You asked them to make a noise. That sounds similar. Let it run for like 5 full seconds. That's it.
That's it?
Do you want me to come do it?
Yeah.
Just so you can verify?
That sounded,
I know I didn't, it may not have been the pressure right. That was obviously running water.
Yeah, it sounds.
Tell you what.
Close enough that I would say it matched.
What's that?
It's close enough. I would say it matched.
That's what I was saying. That sounded very much like it to me too. During the very initial part of the investigation, Sarah actually went to kind of go speak to a couple of local people there that were at some businesses near the building. Eric and I kind of walked through the building itself, found ourselves in the basement, and we started hearing something that both of us were picking up on. We took a couple of turns trying to figure out if it was water or what was going on.
Sir, we mean no harm or disrespect. If you want to, or if you could you please, by all means, give us another sign that you're here, that you're listening to us, that you can hear us, whether it's a noise, a cold chill, water running sound again, whatever that was. Sir, if you were the one that knocked this device off and it fell down here when we all left earlier, if that was you, could you come forward, give us another sign, please? It stopped earlier, didn't it?
That is twice. That is twice.
It didn't go as long because it stopped earlier, didn't it?
Right as you crested the stairs too, it stopped. Eric, I can hear water trickling.
I did too, I thought.
Do you hear that? No, I mean
In the bathroom?
something is running water slightly.
The next thing that we heard was a little bit harder to explain. This sounded like footsteps or shuffling coming from the upstairs. So Miles and I had moved up to the upper level, or the ground level, I should say, from the basement. It sounded like someone else was in here.
It did. Almost like they were moving up the top of the stairs or something.
Just heard a noise. I don't know. It sounded like someone else was in here. I thought Sarah was coming back in, but it was not her. Because there was shuffling, obvious footsteps.
Mm-hmm. Like they were on the wood. Like they were, maybe top of the stair area or something of that nature.
Yeah.
But it definitely sounded like shuffling is a good way to put that. Like just somebody moving across a room, you know?
Mm-hmm. Getting chills right now. Because if we're quiet or whatnot, then we were starting to hear noises and it sounded like it was out here when we were downstairs. And if... Did you hear that?
I heard that.
Sounded like a female's voice. Is there a woman here? Possibility of it being outside is minimum, but there's still a possibility. And with that, and that alone, we can't just automatically say that was paranormal.
You know, I understand that, but that seemed very timed, and quite frankly, I looked up the stairs at the exact same time you did. It didn't sound like it was...
It sounded like within the walls.
It did not sound like just an external noise or some overflow from somebody across the street or something like that.
Getting chills right now, too. But this is one of the theories that I've actually been working with, and it has to do with radar, actually. Radar gun. I used this at Morris Mill when I worked on that movie with a few friends and colleagues. We were able to get some surprising results. So we would aim this... Sounds like it's behind you in the barber.
Yeah.
I think that one's debunked. It
Okay.
sounds like it's something running on
That's, you know what, that's probably legit. It wound up being a water pipe from a connected building, and we debunked that real quick. It was kind of funny to get excited about it real fast and then realize that it was actually just something physical. It was something completely normal to the building, and it wasn't anything to read further into.
With this, we were able to clock something or someone moving across a room at 45 to 50 mile per hour.
And so I've been working with that theory that maybe that's one reason we see them moving out of the corner of our eye, or you'll see them and I won't, kind of thing. Because if they're zooming across the room going 40 mile an hour, they're instantly bam.
Well, that's easily twice the speed of any human, even at top speed. I mean, that's...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this thing has to, the way radar works, shoots out a beam, and that beam is received back, and that measures the speed of it, but it has to...
Has to be interrupted.
Yes. Right now, that's what it will look like blank. Can you
Okay.
see it pretty good? Probably without the light.
Yeah, there's a good shot. Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right, could you pass in front of this device at the top of the stairs? Just move out. Saw the reading. Was it 51?
I think so.
53? Is that you doing that? Are you able to do it again? Yeah, it is, I think. Okay, so 50. It saved it, see, because it will save it.
I caught it. Yeah.
So 53 is the last.
Okay.
Are you there still?
And I got it when it was zeroed out, too.
Can you do that again? Can you move in front of this?
And one of the things he does is uses a radar gun, through doorways and stuff like that to see if there's any measurable activity. And while I had the camera on it, twice he got readings that were in the upper 40s or maybe around 50 miles an hour, which obviously is nothing that a human would do.
We're getting readings that are in the 40, 50 mile per hour range. What's that from exactly? Obviously no living human can do that.
The radar is being interfered with some kind of a something.
Hey.
I heard you guys talking, so I didn't know this come in. Okay, so, built in about 1855.
Okay.
Before it was the Masons, it was a movie theater type, and then downstairs was a grocery store. That would explain the bigger doors, obviously, in the back. 2 years ago, it stopped being used for the Masons.
Okay.
Just because of the disrepair, they couldn't afford to keep it up.
Okay.
Actually, there was a Mason I was talking to next door.
Nice.
But he's with St. Charles. He's not with this group that was here. This was not the original Main Street.
Okay.
I think they had mentioned that earlier. Outside, Main Street was actually 2 streets over, and it burnt down twice. They had started, this was the first building here on this block to be built, and they moved it over here in the 1880s. So this, that would definitely correlate, with the 1855 being built. And in 1910, 1920, something like that, this block burnt down.
Okay.
But there was enough brick that they had built the buildings out of that.
Right.
They were able to save them.
Okay.
And I was also told to look into the Medora murder. It's actually it was a true story. A wife supposedly killed her husband with an axe and then used it to kill the Thanksgiving turkey the next day. And it's actually a book, Murder in the Heartland.
Where did that happen at?
Medora, Iowa, just across the way.
Okay.
And the house, the original house, it's no longer there, but a family that has owned the land since she was actually arrested and all that good stuff, owns the farm and all that good stuff. The original house is no longer there, but they built on top of the original foundation and such, and there's a lot going on down there.
Okay.
So that might be something that happened. That murder happened about 1901.
Okay.
Find basically with the EMF meter, electromagnetic field detector, common things, microwaves, ovens, refrigerators, anything pretty much is electric, or anything especially is not that grounded and it emits EMF, this thing will pick that up and detect it. And we find a spot that has no electromagnetic field. Earth has a natural electromagnetic field in it. And one theory that's been researched several times, time and time again, is the fact that potential spirit or paranormal activity can manipulate or change the electromagnetic field.
I lost, pardon me, I lost autofocus there for about 30 seconds, right when she did. My battery life went from like 38 minutes to 12 minutes. Now I'm back up to 14 minutes.
What about you? Did you have a battery drain?
I don't notice any battery drain, honestly.
Okay.
Really, for some reason, I couldn't place it, but I was drawn to that portion specifically. I was real curious about what was behind a couple of things, stuff like that. I just kept trying to go down there, and we did catch a few things that happened down there, but that was something that I felt for some reason just compelled to do just internally. Sarah and I debated about it at one point in the evening.
All night long, Miles had a feeling that he was just drawn to that basement, just drawn to it. I was the complete opposite. I wanted to stay as far away from it as possible, even just walking down to the door, go outside, it's right next to the basement. Even then, I just was very standoffish about it.
Why is there an aversion to this?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think it is? What are you
I
getting?
don't know. I do not want to go back in the basement.
What was that?
There's a piece of
There's
paper.
nothing near me, nothing around me, nothing. There's no.
Okay. Something
Right
slid.
on the side of the door.
Yeah.
Is that like the sound you heard earlier?
No.
You hear that?
That sounded like somebody.
That sounded like a piece of paper.
Paper
Piece of
being
paper
slid.
under your
Yeah.
foot.
Let's keep going with that though. What do you think it is that's making it that you don't want him to?
I don't know. I don't like going down there. The more I'm here, the more.
Eric and I had the most activity, I think, and the most the matching sensations.
I can't be downstairs. And when you're in here, when you're doing it, I can't be in here. I can't be in the building.
Can't be in the building.
When you're doing that down there, I can't do it.
I mean, I understand, but I mean, what's telling you this, or why are you?
I don't know.
What
I'm
is it? I mean,
getting,
I
I'm getting
have a
shakes
real-
right now just talking about it. I don't know. I don't know.
I have a real, just inquisitive vibe out of that, and I want to.
Don't bring it
No,
up.
we'll work on something where it doesn't do that.
I
But
just kind of. I mean, we
I can't be in. I can't be in the building.
We
while
can
you
salt
do
the
it,
doorways
okay?
as we leave. I mean, we can.
Okay, that's fine.
what do you think? I mean, is it overwhelming? Is it like physical pain that causes you? Because you were getting some of
I'm
that.
getting the shakes right now just talking about it, and it's not. I'm not cold.
As far as that goes, yeah, I've never really seen her be scared of a basement before. I mean, or have that kind of vibe out of a basement before. The basement of the house we're buying is an old
Yeah.
farmhouse
I don't
basement,
have a
hand-laid
problem with
mortar
that.
like that
We
is.
went down there at 10 or 11 o'clock at night with no lights on.
trying
All I
to-
know is that when I'm watching this thing, I go directly to the channel 1, the basement. Period. That's all I look at. I try to glance at the other ones, and
Okay. Well, I mean, I understand that. I'm just kind of. I'm not going to do something that you don't want me to do, but we can do that respectfully, especially in a spiritual sense. We can do that respectfully.
There was a discussion about going back downstairs. Miles had seemed like he was drawn to downstairs. He wanted to go back down there. Something about it kind of made Sarah unease. She didn't want to go back downstairs. I was game for going back down there because I wanted to cover as much area as we could, and especially with the motion sensor falling down earlier in the night, the basement was naturally where we would need to go next.
if anyone was going to be,
Heard
I heard
did
that
it.
too. Might be a fly up in the
No,
ceiling.
it was.
It sounded like shuffling out in the hall.
Yeah, it was not that. It was not. It wasn't that fly that you up there.
Let's keep going with this because this is actually
It's
getting more
just
activity.
Stirring stuff up. I get that over the shoulder feeling, like I'm just definitely.
I heard.
And Motion Man on channel 4. That's Interceptor.
Okay, that's right. I heard it right outside the doorways here. Okay, nobody wants you to go down there and get uncomfortable, get sick.
Yeah.
Wreck your energy as far as that goes. You become a nervous wreck, or if you become overwhelmed with anxiety, it's not really a good spiritual mode to be in. That's not gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not gonna benefit you. That won't benefit the situation. That's just not what you need to do. I mean,
I'll try to go down there. I'm gonna go outside and breathe for a minute or two before
Yeah.
I do it though.
It's just any investigator would I'd have to try to push a little bit.
Exactly.
And Sarah, Miles, and I had started in the lobby area where we were doing a bulk of the investigation. It was the biggest room on the upper floor. And it started to there was something there, and then it just kind of started to go away. Even on the spiritual side, when we opened up to the spiritual, we were getting bits and pieces of something, but it's like it didn't want to come out to tell its story. Change gears basically at this point and do spiritual side investigation, kind of work our way back downstairs doing that.
Okay.
Still keep our tools and whatnot. Probably switch it over to where I have one of you doing this, and just to see if our radar returns pick up even more during this. Because with our experience with doing the spiritual side, is activity does tend to increase when we do this, especially when we hit the nail on the head, so to speak. So now we're going to do more of that. And then at the time when we went full-blown 100% spiritual, then bam, I started picking up on quite a bit of the story as we were getting pieces of it together, what we were getting at that point. Yeah, I get the vision now. She's in a corner, sitting on her butt, holding her knees like this, just weeping. She's still mourning her own. She knows what happened. She's mourning her own trauma that happened to her. She's just scarred. She's speechless, and I think that's part of why it was difficult for her to communicate with us tonight, because I think this is the first time she was able to communicate with anybody, because I did feel a little bit of a weight being lifted up, but at the same time, I can see the one who feels responsible, because they can't come to terms with it yet. They're still distressed. They're still lost souls. He's lost. She's lost. All this just rushed into me right now, and I'm
Completely
was I kind of getting what you were kind of getting to?
I do feel very much so, as we all kind of dove into this at once. It's weird that we're all riding kind of the same wave
That's
there.
the thing. I want to make sure it wasn't just a speeding off.
I do feel that I feel that sadness, that weight, because it's such a heavy thing to have happen. You don't need to be ashamed. You don't need to be afraid. When we were actually doing more of a spiritual portion of the investigation, for some reason I got moved with a just overwhelming sense of just an impact of sadness, and for some reason I had this sensation or this feeling of blood, and there's a long clip on the video, I mean, that's multiple minutes where I'm talking, I have my head in my hands. I think Eric walks up behind me on the podium and he just kind of squats down just to kind of let me know he's there. And I have absolutely no recollection of that whatsoever.
She's traumatized in a way that it's kind of seemed like a situation that would have been very taboo in her day.
She was an actress. She worked here. Ooh.
What is it?
Got like tugged on. Yeah.
Miles, are you okay? Are you about to cry? Yeah. No? You are? Because what I get is that she's embarrassed to talk about it, because I get something, whether it's abuse or something that
I think her father abused her.
something happened. It's almost like, did she get raped?
She get raped? Get in the position.
We said that, yeah. Where she got raped. She's opening up, because this is what I got. She had got raped.
She's not even 20 yet.
Got pregnant.
She's still in her teens.
Got pregnant, and that could have been possibly where some kind of miscarriage was, or abortion.
Yeah, some kind of weird.
Happened.
I think she died because of it. Her father's involved though too.
Think the father raped her?
Even though she was raped, she should have known better.
Yeah,
It was her fault.
You shouldn't have put yourself in that position. You should have.
Did you hear that? Sounded like a weep.
I'm still hearing it.
When she passed, what was that? That you caused? What? That sound? That? Did you hear that?
Yeah. Oh my God, the father's in the basement.
That's who it is?
The father's in the basement.
See, thanks for opening up too. I know it was very difficult for you because there's a sorrow that's filled the room. I've gotten it and I'm trying to push it down, push it away.
We need to go downstairs.
As in basement?
Yeah.
Now you want to go in the basement.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Can't leave it one-sided.
We need to.
There's one thing I think all of us agree on here, that is that you do not need to be ashamed of yourself, blame yourself to nothing that you did.
I heard that.
Finally, at the end of the night, after the spiritual side of the investigation, we all decided, myself included, that this would be the best time to go down to the basement and see what we can do and what we can find.
And once we went down there, what happened next was pretty bizarre, and Sarah doesn't remember the section of time.
Sir, we've been calling you, sir, completely out of respect. In no way are we intruding or meaning to upset you in any way, alright? Sir, is Miles in here again?
You gonna be okay right there?
I don't even know if I'm doing anything with this.
What do you need to do? Do you need to go?
I turned around, I saw Sarah just in a daze. I remember asking her, "Are you okay? Can you step forward?" And she was in a trance.
It was honestly a real blur to me. The feelings were just so overwhelming. I do remember I was crying, I was sniffling. Guys. Guys. It was like a weight was being lifted that finally, can you see what's happening?
All right, I've had to do this before with some investigators. It's a form of a kind of a white light kind of cleansing kind of thing. And I use this angel, one of those healing stones on it, and the Reiki charge candle, which actually is very soothing, and even just holding this close, taking in the scent is just very relaxing, and it kind of helps. What we'll do here is then we'll close our eyes. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Okay. And you should be able to kind of see the flame through your eyelid. You kind of see the light fluctuating. Do you see that? See a tall oak tree. Imagine that. Just blowing in the wind. Breathe in and out again. Just imagine the bright light. It's the sun. Nothing but a positive glow. 3, 2, 1. I feel mellowed.
Mellow, yeah.
Yeah. Should be better than what you were.
Yeah.
But pretty much we're done here. We'll leave whatever it is here in the state that they're in, because there's still some very high emotional states that they're both in, the man and the female.
That sounds good. You agree?
Super fantastic.
Alrighty.
Are you gonna be okay? Yeah. What's your second sig? Third?
Okay.
All right, well, I think the investigation turned out pretty nice, actually, even though it was just 3 of us. I got to tell Cam and Jason about it, and then they'd be like, oh, I wish we were there, I can't wait. But we got a lot of activity in terms of the science part of it first, and then the spiritual side too. I mean, we got stuff right off the bat when we go in there, noises, things being moved.
Like you said, to tune in like that, and to have everybody on that same page at a spiritual level, for all of us, kind of like we discussed, for all of us to unite as a group, not oh yeah, I do too. I mean, for everyone to be experiencing the same, almost like sixth sense sensations at the same time.
Overall, the case went well. We wrapped up, got out of there, and now it's just a lot of evidence and audio in particular to go over.
Everything was organized, everything got put away, turned off, shut down, cleaned up properly. Packing out and all that was pretty swift. There were a lot of trips up and down the stairs.
I thought that it gave some validation to some of my previous thoughts that maybe something was there.
I guess my pop is what it sounded like. I don't know. Who knows?
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. What was really weird was like after my first time down there working by myself at night, and I got freaked out, and I came back. I don't want to say 2 or 3 weeks later, and I brought a bunch of my buddies with.
Yeah.
And we were up there, and we had music going, and we were drinking beer, and working on the walls, and cleaning stuff up. And ever since we did that, that place was warm to me. Like when I walked in, it was inviting. Like we were all brotherly. It was great. We were having fun. And even when I was there working on myself after that, I never once had a chill or a second thought. My first day there, I took 2 big old flashlights you used to get at Radio Shack way back in the day that were in the cupboards there. And I set them on the counter. And the funny thing is I actually took a magic marker and drew circles around them and made them into BOOBSs because I'm childish. And I locked everything up that day and went home, and a week later I came back, and those flashlights were on their side and pushed neatly up against the edge of the countertop. I mean, not like they fell over and rolled someplace. They were laid down and pushed in a line.
And so I pulled out a radar gun, and there's something still moving because we were getting some hits.
Wow.
And that was our theory about, well, it's a working theory at least right now, for why so many people reported out of the corner of their eye. Well, if they're moving that fast in a room.
Right. I know that basement's something. I had a lot of guys down there working, and even in daylight with lights going and the door upstairs open, they were still creeped out to be in there. Like the creepy door in the wall, if you remember seeing that. I always caught myself thinking something was behind that door. I just kind of played it off and did my thing, and I would say that basement is definitely the hot spot.
The thing here, this was yours.
Oh, thank you. Definitely some of the voices I remember hearing when I was working before, and I guess I always played it off as maybe it was downstairs or in the bar, but you can hear your voices, and then underneath of that, like it was still in the room. So, yeah, I think it was definitely legitimate.